They say true beauty shines from within. When you learn to love yourself, you become unstoppable. Is this true? Let's find out from the story of Maya. In a bustling city lived a woman named Maya. Maya was always seen with perfect makeup. From morning till night, she did everything with it. She goes to bed with makeup and wakes up very early in the morning before her neighbor wakes up to apply makeup, just so nobody will see her bare face. Her bare face has never seen the light of the day without Maya applying makeup. I know you must be wondering why Maya doesn't want anyone to see her bare face. Well, my dear viewers, let's keep listening to this story. One day, a lady in the neighborhood who has been observing Maya walked up to her one morning and said, "Maya, I see you here often. You always look so put together and I wonder how you are able to keep up with that. What's your secret?" And Maya smiled politely, but her eyes darted away nervously as if someone has asked her a question that she's so afraid to answer. Then the lady went ahead to ask again, "Even when you are just relaxing, you are always on makeup." Maya felt a lump in her throat. She wasn't ready to share her secrets. "It's just something I like to do," she said, changing the subject quickly and running off. Actually, Maya has a secret. Do you know Maya's secrets? Don't worry, just keep listening to this story. Just because she doesn't want anyone to see her bare face, she always found herself in tricky situations. One evening, she attended a friend's birthday party at a fancy rooftop restaurant. As the night wore on, the humidity began to affect her makeup. She excused herself and hurried to the restroom to quickly fix it. Worried that someone might have noticed, in her rush, she nearly knocked over a waiter carrying a tray of drinks. Her heart pounded as she dabbed her face, hoping no one would have seen her without her mask. At the office, Maya was always careful to keep her makeup intact. She kept a small mirror and a makeup kit in her desk drawer, often sneaking off to the restroom to check her face. One day, during an important meeting, the air conditioner malfunctioned and the room grew warm. Maya felt her makeup starting to melt. She excused herself, stating that she has a stomach ache, and dashed to the restroom to quickly fix her face. She was busy fixing her face. Her hands were trembling, hoping seriously that nobody has seen a glimpse of her bare face without makeup. One sunny morning, Maya strolled into her favorite restaurant. She ordered for a plate of food, and as she sat down to enjoy her meal, a young, handsome man walked up to her and said, "Wow, beautiful lady, I've been admiring you from afar, and you have a very unique and stylish appearance." Maya felt so happy and joyful that a man complimented her this much, and she said, "Oh, thank you so much. No one has ever complimented me like this in a long time." The gentleman went ahead to sit down on the same table with Maya and started striking up a conversation with her. The both of them got talking, and over time, they exchanged numbers. Maya and the gentleman, whose name is Mr. Richard, became friends. They laughed together, shared stories, and enjoyed each other's company. But Richard couldn't shake his curiosity about Maya's face, because for the past few weeks, they've been communicating as friends. Richard has never seen Maya without makeup, and this got him really curious. One of the scenarios that really got Richard's curiosity spark high was that one rainy afternoon, Maya's makeup started to smudge while they were on a lunch date. Richard noticed but said nothing, because all of a sudden, Maya started to panic. Oh my God, it is raining. I can't be in this rain. My makeup must not smudge. Richard wondered why she panicked so much about her makeup not smudging, but he didn't say anything. He simply offered his jacket to shield her face away from the rain. As they walked together, Maya felt her heart racing. She thought to herself, oh, thank God he has a jacket to cover my face, because this rain would have washed my face off and Richard would have seen me. Richard noticed how uncomfortable Maya was always whenever any small mistake of her makeup smudging comes. And he was so curious, and he asked Maya one day. He said to her, Maya, darling, you are always afraid of your makeup cleaning. What is the problem? Is there something you would like me to know? Maya was so nervous. She started trembling. She said, oh no, this is why I don't like to date men. Because anytime a man comes to me, they are always wanting to see my natural face. And I don't want it. And Richard was like, why? What is wrong with your bare face? Why are you always hiding your natural face from the public and from men? Anyways, do you mind telling me why? Because Maya really loved Richard, she couldn't let go of him just like she has been doing to other men. Actually, Maya has been getting a lot of admirers and suitors, but she always rejected them because she didn't want them to see her natural face. So, just because she was so much in love with Richard, she wasn't ready to let Richard go. And she said to herself, I think it is time to tell him the truth. And Maya invited Richard to her apartment. When Richard arrived at Maya's apartment, Maya said to him, Richard, there's something I need to show you. She wiped away part of her makeup, revealing a black scar on her face. And she said to Richard, this is why I wear makeup. I have a scar and I don't feel confident without it. Maya narrated how she was bullied right from when she was much younger because of the black scar on her face, and she decided to keep applying makeup for the rest of her life just to keep her confidence. And after saying all this to Richard, she thought Richard was going to let her go. But instead, Richard said to her, Maya, you are beautiful, with or without makeup. This scar doesn't change who you are. It shows your strength and resilience. Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her. For the first time, she didn't feel ashamed of her scar. With Richard by her side, she decided to step out into the world without having to cover her scar. The next day, Maya stood in front of her bathroom mirror, her bare face staring back at her. She felt nervous but determined. With a deep breath, she stepped outside. Richard was waiting for her. Richard encouraged her to take a walk without her makeup and walk through the streets of the city. She was nervous and she said, Richard, are you sure about this? And Richard smiled encouragingly, saying, Maya, I am here for you. As they walked through the busy streets, Maya noticed that people didn't react negatively. Some even smiled at her. She felt a newfound sense of freedom and joy. Richard praised her courage, and Maya felt her confidence grow. She started to realize that true beauty comes from within. And over time, Maya's story became an inspiration to everyone who had one flaw or the other that they are hiding from the public. She started a blog about self-confidence, sharing her journey with the world. She realized that true beauty indeed lies within, and she felt happier and more confident than ever. In a lively market where people wore colorful clothes and sold all sorts of things, there was one special store that everyone talked about. It was Kelechi's wig store. Kelechi was a charming man who always smiled, and his wigs were the talk of the town. The young girls and women in that town were enchanted by Kelechi's wigs. They would fight and argue just to buy one. I need to look my best, but I can't look my best without Kelechi's wigs, some of them would say to themselves. The competition to buy Kelechi's wigs grew fierce. Women saved all their money and even borrowed just to afford one. These wigs will make me feel like a queen, they will say. The market was always bustling with excitement around Kelechi's store. They will fight and argue just to be able to afford one of Kelechi's wigs, and this made Kelechi very excited. But do you know the intriguing thing about Kelechi's wigs? The wigs were cost. People didn't know the wigs were cost. They just saw how beautiful they were, and they would always fight and rush to buy it. Any woman who buys any wig from Kelechi's store always have one thing or the other happening negative in their life. But they never understood what was going on, and they never suspected that their problem was coming from Kelechi's wig. A young woman named Adolisa, who recently got married, was so excited because she had just discovered that she is pregnant. On breaking the news to her husband asked her, "My dear wife, in celebration for our unborn child, what do you want me to buy for you?" And Adolisa responded to her husband, "My husband, I want one of Kelechi's wigs. I've been dreaming of wearing one of Kelechi's wigs. And please, I wouldn't mind if you buy me a wig from Kelechi's store." And the husband gave Adolisa money to buy Kelechi's wig just to congratulate themselves for having a child on the way. The next day, Adolisa visited Kelechi at his store. "Kelechi, I want to buy this wig. I've been dreaming about buying a wig from you. I mean, you are the talk of the town. Which woman wouldn't want to buy a wig from you? Please, give me one of your wig. How much is it? My husband already gave me money and I want to buy now." And Kelechi said, "No problem." And he gave the wig to Adolisa. When Adolisa got home, she was so excited about finally purchasing a wig from Kelechi's store. At least when other women are talking in town about Kelechi's wigs, she will also be able to talk. Immediately, Adolisa wore the wig on her head. Few hours later, Adolisa had a miscarriage. She lost the pregnancy. They didn't know where the problem was coming from, and they never suspected that it was the wig Adolisa bought from Kelechi's store that caused the miscarriage. Next time, Adolisa became pregnant again, and anytime she puts on that wig, there is always miscarriage. Adolisa still didn't know what was going on, and this continued to happen in her marriage. Anytime Adolisa wears that wig, she is always having one problem or the other in her marriage. Another beautiful young lady called Abike recently got engaged to the love of her life. And so she was so excited and decided to celebrate her engagement and upcoming wedding by buying a wig from Kelechi's store. She said to herself, "I need to buy one wig from Kelechi's store because I must use Kelechi's wig for my wedding. I mean, I've told my hairstylist that I am coming with Kelechi's wig and I must wear it." Abike visited Kelechi's store and purchased a wig from Kelechi with the intention of using it as a wig for her wedding. On the very day of Abike's wedding, immediately she wore that wig she bought from Kelechi. Her husband-to-be, the groom, cancelled the wedding, turned everything upside down and said he was no longer interested in marrying Abike. Everyone was confused. Abike herself was confused. She wondered what her offense was. How can my groom all of a sudden decide not to marry me again? What have I done? Abike did not know that it was the wig she bought from Kelechi's store that she wore on her head that caused the whole chaos on her wedding day. And that was how Abike's wedding got cancelled. While the women wore the wigs they bought from Kelechi's store, strange things started happening in their lives. And they never suspected for one day that it was the wig that was causing all of this problem. A singer called Nneka, who was known for her beautiful and melodious voice, lost her voice immediately she wore the wig. Ifeoma, who is also a talented dancer, hurt her leg mysteriously. Their fortunes seemed to vanish, and they couldn't understand why. Then the market was filled with whispers and worries. In that same market, there lived a wise and smart girl called Adanna. Adanna's mother owned a store selling groceries in that market. She was a very smart and observant girl, and she noticed the changes that some of the women who also bought wig from Kelechi's store in that market always had. She saw how the women who wore the wig seemed to lose their talents and luck in the market. And she said to her mother, "Mama, have you seen what's happening to the women with Kelechi's wigs? Imagine that auntie that sells clothes down the road. The last time she has been complaining of bad luck in her business. And I noticed that it was immediately she bought wig from Kelechi's store that all of this happened. Okay, what about Auntie Adanaya? Auntie Adanaya's business started falling apart and her husband chased her out of her house. And I also observed that it was immediately after she bought wig from Kelechi's store. I don't think Kelechi's business is pure, Mama." And then her mother answered, "My daughter, I think you are right. But we have to be very careful. Because even me, I know something is not right with that Kelechi of a boy." Adanna decided to investigate. She spoke to the women affected in the markets. Some of them said, "My business used to flourish, but ever since I started wearing that wig, it is no longer moving well." Then, some of the girls were also in the market, and they said, "I used to be a good singer, but now I can't." Another said, "I used to be the best dancer, but now I can't even walk properly." Then, coincidentally, Adolisa came to the market to buy foodstuff. Upon hearing Adanna and the other people's conversation, she also said, "No wonder. Anytime I put on that wig, I'm always having a miscarriage." Adanna listened carefully to how the women lamented, piecing together the puzzle. My dear viewers, I'm sure you are also wondering what exactly and how Kelechi started selling evil wigs. Well, Kelechi wasn't always a wig seller. He used to be a humble trader selling ordinary goods. One day, he met an old mysterious man named Baba Zubairu, who promised him great wealth if he followed his advice. Baba Zubairu taught Kelechi how to make wigs using dark magic. The wigs would look beautiful, but would bring bad luck to those who wore them. And in turn, Kelechi's business and wealth would begin to bloom. Kelechi, blinded by greed, agreed to the plan. Kelechi crafted his first cost wig and sold it to a rich woman. Soon after, the woman fell ill, but Kelechi's business boomed. People didn't know the wigs were costs. They just saw how beautiful they were. Now you know how Kelechi started this evil wig business. Let's go to how Adanna was able to bring Kelechi down. Keep watching this video. Adanna knew she had to act, but she needed a plan. She gathered her friends and shared her findings. "We need to catch Kelechi in the act. We must show everyone the truth," Adanna said. Her friends agreed to help, determined to stop the evil. One night, Adanna and her friends followed Kelechi to his secret workshop. They hid behind a bush and watched how he chanted strange words. And this made the wigs glow with light. Adanna's heart raced. They had the proof they needed. The next morning, Adanna and her friends confronted Kelechi in the market. "Kelechi, your wigs are cursed. You use dark magic to harm our people," Adanna shouted. The crowd gathered, murmuring in shock. Kelechi tried to deny the accusations. "These are lies. My wigs are simply beautiful. Nothing more," he claimed. But Adana and her friends were prepared. They showed everyone a cursed wig they had taken from his workshop. The market fell silent as people looked at Kelechi in shock. "Is this true?" someone shouted. Kelechi's face turned red with anger, but he couldn't hide the truth. The people were angry and demanded answers. Just when everyone thought Kelechi would be caught, Kelechi tried to run away. But Adana had a clever idea. She grabbed one of his wigs and threw it at him. The wig glowed and wrapped around Kelechi, making him stumble and fall. The people gasped as they saw the wig's magic backfire on Kelechi. Adana stood tall, showing no fear. "We must stop him from hurting anyone else," she said. The people cheered and praised Adana for her bravery. They decided to take Kelechi to the village elders for judgment. Under pressure from the crowd, Kelechi confessed his deeds. He told them about Baba Zuberu and the dark magic. The villagers were horrified and saddened by his greed. The village elders listened to Kelechi's confession. They decided that Kelechi must undo the magic he had cast and leave the town forever. Kelechi begged for mercy, but the elders were firm. Kelechi, under the watchful eyes of the villagers, performed a ritual to remove the curses from the wigs. The glowing wigs turned back to normal and the people felt a sense of relief. With Kelechi gone, peace returned to the town. The villagers thanked Adana for her courage and wisdom. The market was once again a place of joy and prosperity. Adana became a hero and everyone learned the importance of honesty and kindness. Adolisa became pregnant and gave birth to as many children as she wanted, including every other woman who had a challenge from Kelechi's wigs. All their misfortunes were restored back to them. In a small Igbo village, there lived a kind-hearted girl named Ije. She came from a very poor family, but she was always cheerful and hardworking. Her mother, Mama Nkechi, struggled to make ends meet for Ije and her younger siblings, Nkem and Uchenna, ever since their father died while tapping palm wine from a palm tree. Ije knew she had to help her family. Being the first among three, she decided to work as a housemaid for a wealthy woman in the city named Madame Clara. With her earnings, she hoped to provide a better life for her family. One early morning, Ije left her village, promising her mother that she would send money home regularly. Mama Nkechi told her daughter, "Ije, my daughter, please take good care of yourself. Remember where you are coming from. I will really miss you." And Mama Nkechi kissed her daughter goodbye, filled with hope and worry. In Madame Clara's house, Ije worked tirelessly. She cleaned, cooked, and took care of the children. Despite the hard work, she never complained because she was doing it for her family. She said to herself, "I really need to work hard. I need to support my poor mother in the village. I need to take care of my younger siblings. No matter how tasking this job is, I must work hard." And she continued to do her job as a housemaid diligently. One day, Madame Clara sent Ije on an errand. She said to her, "Ije, rush quickly to the junction and get me some groceries. We have no groceries in the house, and please don't be long." And Ije collected the money from her boss and left the house. Few hours later, Ije did not come back. Madame Clara grew worried and searched for her. She said to herself, "Where could this girl have gone to? Common groceries that I told her to buy for me, and she's spending all this time there. She will come home and meet me today. I told her not to stay long, and she's still not back." She started searching for Ije. She went everywhere looking for her. Then she decided to inform the police about Ije's sudden disappearance. The police searched everywhere in the city looking for Ije. They visited markets, streets, and even hospitals, but they couldn't find her. The search continued for days. Unfortunately, they didn't find EJ. Madam Clara became very worried. She said, "What will I tell her poor mother? This woman gave me her daughter to look after while she works for me as a maid. How do I tell her that her daughter is missing? Or could it be that EJ ran away back to the village? But how can she just leave the house without telling me? I think I need to go to the village and check if EJ is there." And Madam Clara packed up and set out for EJ's village in search for her. A few hours later, Madam Clara arrived at EJ's village. On getting to her compound, she asked Mama Nkechi, EJ's mother, "Mama Nkechi, I'm looking for EJ." And her mother responded, "What do you mean by you are looking for EJ? EJ is in the city with you now. How can you say you are looking for EJ?" And Madam Clara replied, "Mama Nkechi, so you mean EJ did not come here? We've been looking for her in the city for days. I actually thought she ran back to the village. That's why I am here." Mama Nkechi said, "Madam Clara, EJ is not here. I haven't heard from her. The last time I spoke to her on phone was few days ago." And she burst in tears. "Oh God, where would she have gone to?" Madam Clara went back to the city and started looking for EJ all over again. Months passed and EJ was still nowhere to be found. Madam Clara continued with her life in the city, while Mama Nkechi cried almost every day, praying that one day her daughter EJ will come back. You must also be wondering what exactly happened to EJ or where EJ must have gone to. Well, dear viewers, EJ actually died on the very day she left Madam Clara's house. Do you want to know what exactly happened? Keep watching the video. Back in the village, EJ's family struggled without support because EJ, who was supporting her mother to take care of their feeding and upkeep, was nowhere to be found. Little did Mama Nkechi know that her dear daughter EJ was no longer alive. They couldn't eat well, and Mama Nkechi became worried, seriously worried sick. EJ's younger siblings, Nkem and Uchenna, missed their sister so much. They hoped and prayed that one day EJ would come back. Despite their hardship, one day they woke up in the morning and saw a basket of foodstuff and money arriving at their doorstep. Mama Nkechi and her children were puzzled, but they were grateful because they really needed it. But they wondered who must have dropped it. EJ's siblings thought to themselves, could it be that Auntie EJ brought all of this? But how can Auntie EJ bring all of this when she is nowhere to be found? Or perhaps it's a good Samaritan. Whoever it is, thank you, because we really need this. I mean, we don't have food in the house and now we are waking up to foodstuff and money. Whoever this person is must be an angel. Not knowing that it was EJ's spirit that came to drop the food and money at her mother's doorstep to support her family. One day, Mama Nkechi and her two children were on their way to the farm. Suddenly, they saw EJ walking towards them. "Mama, look, it's EJ," shouted Nkem, one of her siblings. Mama Nkechi's heart leaped with joy and relief. She was so excited. "My daughter, where have you been? We've been searching for you everywhere," she cried and was excited at the same time. "Mama, it's a long story. Let's go home," EJ said. They hurried back to their house, eager to hear EJ's tale. When they arrived home, Mama Nkechi asked EJ again, "My daughter, where did you go to? Where have you been? We've been looking for you." And EJ said, "Mama, don't worry. Just thank God that I am here with you. I've missed you all so much, and I am here to spend some time with you before going back to the city. Little did they know that it was Ije's spirit they were seeing. Well, Mama, if you must know, I went in search for a better job. Actually, someone told me of a better job offer. So I decided to leave Madam Clara's house to go in search of the job, and that is where I have been. I knew you would be worried, so I decided to come back, Ije said. And then her mother said, "But Ije, you should have informed me. You got all of us worried about you. You would have also informed Madam Clara, your boss." And she decided to call Madam Clara immediately to inform her that Ije has arrived back to the village. And immediately, Ije stopped her mother. "Mama, no. Don't worry. Don't call Madam Clara. I don't want her to know that I am back. Considering the way I left, I don't want her to know that I am back, at least not now." And her mother replied, "Okay, my daughter, if you say so. Thank God you are safe. But are you sure you don't want to tell Madam Clara?" And Ije said, "No. Mama, don't worry. Don't inform them that I am back. I will go there eventually, but not now," Ije insisted. "Well, I'm so happy that you are back. Let me go and make food for you," Ije said gently to her mother. "Mama, no, I don't want to eat. When I am ready to eat, I will definitely make food for myself. I'm not a visitor," Ije lied. Mama Nkechi now turned to her other siblings. "Now that your sister Ije is back, let's quickly rush back to the farm and go and weed Mama Ngozi's farm so she will pay us for today. If not, there will be no food for us to eat tomorrow." And Ije quickly replied to her mother, "Mama, no, I don't want you to go to the farm anymore. I have enough money to take care of you all," Ije said. "Ije, where did you get all this money?" Mama Nkechi asked her daughter. "Mommy, I've been saving money. I want you to enjoy it." Her mother was really joyful that her dear daughter Ije finally came back. And she didn't just come back, she came back with money to take care of her and her siblings. And everything went smoothly for a while, not knowing that Ije was actually a spirit. Ije continued to provide for her family, ranging from food to drinks to clothing to money. And even the villagers started wondering about how Ije was able to provide all of this within a short while. They said to themselves, this Ije's sudden disappearance and appearance is so strange. I wonder how she made all this money. Well, I'm happy for Mama Nkechi. That family has really suffered. Poverty has really dealt with them. So, it's good for them. They should keep enjoying. But do you know what really got Mama Nkechi curious about Ije? Ever since Ije's returned, she has not eaten in that house, neither has she taken her bath. Mama Nkechi always asked her daughter, "Ije, since you got back to the village, I haven't seen you put food in your mouth. Neither have I seen you taking your bath. Where have you been eating and taking your bath? Tell me." And Ije responded, "Don't worry, Mama. Most times when you go out, I eat. Sometimes I just like to stay calm and not disturb anybody. I always take my bath when you guys are not around because I have a particular time that I take my bath. That is how we in the city behave." And Mama Nkechi waved it and said, "Okay, no problem, my daughter, if you say so." While all the villagers wondered where Ije got all the money she has been spending on her family from, a wise elderly man known as Mr. Eze observed the family closely and the unusual happenings. Mr. Eze was actually gifted with a spiritual eye. He felt a strange presence in the house but remained calm. Eze performed a small ritual to reveal any spirits, because he was very curious and was certain that Ije is no longer a human. That night, Ije's spirit appeared before him. Eze wasn't afraid. He understood what had happened. And Mr. Eze said to Ije's spirit, "Ije, why are you doing this? Do you want to torment your poor mother? Why won't you just allow everybody know that you are no longer alive instead of riding your mother on? And AJ said calmly, Mr. Eze, I don't know how my mother would take the news that I am no more. And I had to come back in any way possible to help my family. I couldn't watch them suffer. They were so hungry. I couldn't just watch them, and I had to come back. And Mr. Eze said to her, well, I understand, but still you have to let them know that you are no more alive. And Mr. Eze said, but what happened to you, EJ? I thought you were at Madam Clara's place in the city. What exactly happened? And EJ started narrating to Mr. Eze how Madam Clara pretended to have sent her on an errand to buy groceries. Meanwhile, she already arranged some people to have her kidnapped. She disclosed to Mr. Eze that Madam Clara was actually into rituals and she was a sacrificial lamb for Madam Clara. Mr. Eze was so sad to hear this story, and he assured EJ that he was going to make sure Madam Clara paid for her sins and will also ensure that she is properly buried in her father's compound. And EJ thanked Mr. Eze and left that night. The next day, Mr. Eze went to Mama Nkechi and explained everything he has just been told to Mama Nkechi. Mama Nkechi refused to believe. She said, no, I don't believe you, Mr. Eze. EJ has been living with us. After a while of doubting Mr. Eze, she realized how serious and true the story is. And secondly, Mr. Eze is not a man to joke with things like that. And she started wailing and crying. She cried like never before, including EJ's siblings. And truly, since then, EJ didn't come home or appear to her mother again. The news spread round the whole community, and the village youths were very angry with Madam Clara. They all headed for the city to Madam Clara's house. When they arrived there, they dragged her out and gave her the beating of her life. After that, they took her to the police station. There and there, Madam Clara confessed to everything of how she sent some people to kidnap EJ while on her way to buy groceries and how she ended up killing her. Unfortunately, EJ is no more. Madam Clara was sentenced to life in prison. Unfortunately, EJ is actually no longer alive to support her poor mother, but she got justice. Mama Nkechi and her children went back to the village, saddened with the news that their daughter EJ is no longer alive. They continued with their life, taking it slow and steady, hoping that one day things will get better. And that is how the sad story of EJ ended. It's so sad that EJ's life had to end in this way. But then, what does this story tell us? Let us all be careful of whom we entrust our children to. Let us be very careful of whom we walk around with. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope you were entertained. My name is Onyi of Onyi Stories and Folktales. And please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please, I'm begging, kindly click on that subscribe button, turn on the notification. So when I post more interesting stories like this, you'll be the first to get them. I really appreciate your support. I do not take it for granted at all. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.